Hi, I'm Jed Sims and welcome to this session on how to survive as a strategic portfolio management office and be seen as highly valuable by the business. One of the problems that portfolio management offices have is they're not seen as valuable. The people keep questioning, where's the value? What are you doing that someone else isn't already doing? And it's actually hard to answer that question because a lot of what a portfolio management office does is orchestrate and administrate between the lines that other people are accountable for. But a good strategic portfolio management office can be of high value and recognizes high value to an organization. To help explain where the value is and where people will see the value in a SPMO, then we're going to use what we call the top portfolio management value pyramid. This explains the relative value ascribed by the business to the different types of activity that portfolio management offices perform. So for each one, we'll look at what the nature of the tasks are and the value that comes from the business. At the base level, there's project administration and reporting, where the PMO gathers together all the information about all the projects, which ones are red, amber, green, what their financial status is. They collate all these reports and send them up. Really, there's not a great deal of value in this task, but you can actually destroy a lot of value. I've seen many a PMO that is in such a weak position that they are not able to accurately reflect the true status of projects. They get leaned on by senior project directors or maybe even the sponsors to give the information that they want to be seen. So they actually present misleading information to senior management, which makes things worse. So in this area, the value ascribed by the business is zero. It can only be negative when they find that the information is actually inaccurate. But you can do an A1 plus job here and no one will care less. That's what it's expected. They expected you to be able to add up all the cost budgets and so on and see what the total figure is. That's not a great deal of value adding work. Unfortunately, a lot of PMOs are in this area and they are working very hard to deliver results that are not valued by the business. That's not to say that you don't want project administration and reporting, it's just this is the least important, least valued aspect of what the PMO can do. The second is project resource planning and management. Whether or not you actually have project managers and business analysts or alike reporting to you is not recommended because it then makes you part of the problem rather than someone who can oversee the resources. But whether or not you have them reporting to you or not doesn't make any difference. At the end of the day, one of the tasks you can do is resource planning and management, scarce resource planning, recruitment, making sure you've got the right competencies, the right skill sets, the right caliber of people. We all know that the people you have on a project determine the result. If you put team A on, you'll get A result. If you put team H on, you'll get H result, because the people influence exactly what the results are. So if you put the B team or the C team on a project, you'll get a B or C level result. So you need to make sure that you have the right resources, and if you don't have the right resources, that the projects don't go ahead, because the only thing you then know is they're not going to succeed as planned. Also notice the last one on this list on the left hand side, consultant performance measurement. A lot of organizations use contractors and consultants and systems implementers and vendors, which I group all under this heading. And we say you've got to measure their performance. They're costing you a lot of money. You've got to be managing and measuring to make sure that A, you're getting value for money, B, they produce the results they're supposed to do, and C, you don't re-employ them if they don't produce. I've seen so many organisations re-employing consultants who have failed and failed and failed again because they like them. That's not the point. It's whether they are performing. But even though this takes a lot of work, it's very critical to the success of projects. The business ascribes very low priority to this. Again, it's mainstream 101 portfolio management type job. Demand planning and management. This is where you're orchestrating the demand that's coming down the pipeline, either ahead of time or as it hits. What you should also be doing is validation and risk assessment to say, well, are these projects that are being proposed actually set up for success? Very few organisations do that rigorously. I know one organisation that does have a team that assesses all projects, but it's driven by politics, not quality. So if, depending on who put the project up, they will get a different rating. But if you have an effective validation process, and the PMO doesn't necessarily need to be doing this as making sure it is done, you can save millions because you can cull set up to fail projects at the outset. And then administering the whole submission to investment management, whatever your major approval board is, just orchestrating that such that you have taken the business case, which may be 40, 50, 60 pages, which is necessary to make the case for the project, validated it, and then say, right, here is a summary that you can use to make an intelligent decision at the investment submission level. The overall rating by the business is low. Again, mainstream PMO type tasks, but important because you're often dealing with millions of dollars of investment. So you've got to get it right. And if you perform well in this, you can save the organization millions by avoiding investing in projects that are not going to succeed. Project delivery, performance and results improvement. Now we're moving away from just administering what's there to actually seeing how we can improve the performance of projects. Support activities, delivery tools, health checks, standard execution tasks and so on. So this is where you've got to make sure that you are improving the overall performance of projects such that you get better results. Now, many PMOs are in this area, but they're not doing them very well. They just go Prince 2 or PMI or something like that. Health checks, which are just about, are we actually just following the methodology, not are we going to get the results. We need to make sure that you are actually making a difference to the results achieved. If you're not, then this is a waste of space. If you can actually, through this, build the capability of the organization to deliver more effectively, then you can get a moderate level of appreciation. Business initiatives delivery management, where you're actually helping deliver the business initiatives and results. Here, we're now moving out of the project space into the business space. What is the business trying to achieve, and how is the business organizing this to achieve it more effectively? So we're now measuring strategic contribution. How much contribution does each project make to the strategy? We're making sure that the governance teams, the sponsors and steering committees actually know what they're doing, and they can actually add value to the project. Looking at the overall portfolio risk management rather than just individual project risks. Promulgating the learnings from each of the projects such that we build cumulative knowledge and get better and better at delivering projects. This is all about orchestrating the business side, the business value side of the projects to make sure we're actually getting the results we desire. When you get into that space, then the value ascribed by the business is high because they can see the difference in results. They can see that they aimed to get to London from wherever they are, and they got there. They didn't get to Paris or Moscow or some other place which was sort of near enough, but they did it on time, on budget, but you didn't actually get to where you want to. This is about getting to where you want to be, and that's why it's highly valued. And the final area is the strategic results and performance improvement. Here we're looking at strategy delivering portfolio planning, making sure the portfolio is cumulatively and progressively delivering the strategy. Verifying that we actually get the returns that are available and are banked. It may surprise you to know that most projects miss, lose or destroy more than 50% of the available value. That's a complete and unnecessary waste. Strategy delivery verification. Are we actually delivering the strategy? Business outcomes measurement. Are we actually getting to the end states we want to do, getting the benefits, making sure that the portfolio is always viable, and making sure that we build the capability of the organization to be better and better and better delivering projects and getting results. And when you're working in this area, then the business value ascribed is very high, because this is what it's all about. At the end of the day, we do projects to deliver the strategy, get the returns, bank the benefits, achieve the business outcomes. This is what it's all about. But there's a caveat here that says the strategic and business high and very high, you need all the other aspects working well in order to be recognized as working in those areas. If the resources are a mess and the performance is a mess and your demand planning is a mess, then talking about strategic and business initiatives delivery is not going to get heard. Now, I'm sure many of you recognize that the left-hand side of this has a very much a project focus, whereas the right-hand side has a business focus. And this is critical to your PMO role. You're straddling these two, and that's really why you're there. The business can manage their bit, the projects can manage their bit, but they need people to bring it together. But the value is on the business side. What happens in too many cases is the PMO is positioned and plays almost exclusively on the left-hand side, the project side, and the business results are left to chance. So what you need to do is make sure you've got the red aspects, project administration, demand planning, down pat. That's working well, minimum effort, great results. Make sure you've got the blue activities, project delivery, performance improvement and resource planning, and make sure they're operating effectively and things are actually being seen to be improving. You've got the right people on the right projects. Then you can focus on the business and strategy delivery. And that's where you'll be seen to be adding real value when you can ensure that the portfolio of projects measurably delivers better results, the strategy, the benefits, the outcomes, for less time and less cost. It really is that simple.